Zwift Community Live on Facebook. We will be broadcasting first ever unofficial, I was going to say Swedish, but we did that a month ago. We're going to do Polish National Championships. My name is Jesper Anker, and with me is my good friend and Vision teammate, Tim Fulford. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good, thank you, Jasper.
You're good. I
Loving
see
a
we're live, by
nice
the way.
Saturday morning race.
I got the call up. I was like nicely laying in my bed thinking, how many kilometers should I ride today on my bike? And then suddenly the phone started beeping. It's like, Jesper, first ever unofficial Polish Swift National Championships. Are you ready? I'm like, yes, I'm gonna just get up. I fell out of bed, kind of stumbling into my setup, got down, gave you a call, and here we are, Tim. This race format, though, Tim, it's a bit different from your regular Swift racing. You've done it in the past. Give the viewers out there a quick heads up.
So, from an Australian pursuit point of view, we're going to have the Ds off first, and the As are going off 7 minutes later. And what this does is instead of all of the As shooting off into the distance and trying to rip each other's legs off with attacks here, there, and everywhere, the As are going to have to work together for the majority.
Only for a short period of time, though.
Well, they've got to catch those 7 minutes, or 2 minutes to the Bs, and then 4 minutes to the Cs, and then 7 minutes to the Ds. So they're going to have to work together, and then the fighting is going to start. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes along.
We're doing, I see it's 4 laps of the Volcano Flat course today, so in total 50 kilometers. Volcano course is a new addition to Utopia, where there's both a climb and there is a circuit on the inside, as well as a little route around it, which is completely flat. And today we're going to see, since it's completely flat, Tim, does that make it more possible for the A's to catch those 7 minutes, or do you think we're going to see one of the lower categories take this? Is it basically elevation? Does that aid the bigger categories, the stronger categories, or does it help?
Yeah, the climbing, in my opinion, would help the stronger riders, as the differential from what they can put up a climb compared to what the D riders can. Also, you're going to get the Ds get up to top speed and then not be slowed down by any elevation. But it's a 50k race, so there's plenty of time for a lot to happen.
Yeah, 50k race. I think the last time I raced and I looked at the statistics after a race, the A's probably go like 4 to 5 kilometers an hour faster than you over like every lap of the classics course. So if you then take that and you put it on here, I know it's like guesstimating, it's very rough science. It could be that we're going to see the Ds be caught by the A's around the 40-kilometer mark. But we recorded a little intro before this, Tim, and I know you mentioned to me that you think the B category has the best shot at running away, because there will only be one winner, there will only be one podium. Even though we have 4 staggered stars, there'll only be 1 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze, and then 1 fourth place that only gets wood. Let's hear it, Tim. B category, what do you think?
So, from my experience of what an Australian pursuit is, or in Zwift, they're more often called hare and hounds races, is the Bs will work together as well, and they'll obviously, unless the As go mad, they will obviously catch the D group first. And the differential between some really good As, some really good Bs, and the A category, which the As is likely to have less in it as well, so the B group will be bigger. The B group will then take them away, and the A's will find it really hard to catch them. So, with a bigger A group than a bigger B group than an A group, I think the Bs have got a good chance of taking the overall championship.
We're currently in the D starting pen, by the way. They're starting in 1 minute's time. Tim, have you noticed, you may not be in the D category, you might have chosen a different start pen, but right in front of us, there's this arcade on Swift that I have honestly not seen before. I've seen there's been a Trek Segafredo coffee stand there. I think I've seen like a lottery, like you know when you buy a ticket, but I don't think I've ever seen the arcade there. Have you seen that before?
I have not.
That's pretty neat, honestly. That's nice. I dig that. I like the small additions to the starting pier.
Maybe something new, maybe something coming up, spending some experience points or something like that. I don't want to.
If only somebody from the Swift HQ was here and able to further indulge in that, but unfortunately, I don't know where we can find an official Zwift employee. We might have to continue looking. In the chat, I see Jared Rothwell says, "Good morning, Jesper and Tim. Busy again. Looking forward to this. Good morning to you as well, Jared." Rafael Pigalai says, "Hey" as well, all the way from Poland. And Martin Curcio says, "Hey, guys. Good morning to you guys. 4, 3, 2, 1, and the Zwift National Championships of Poland are underway. Remember, it's only if you're a Polish citizen that you will be counted into the results. So we might see Puho from Russia, we see Criteto from Italy. They will just be making up the numbers and helping the Ds get around. We actually, I need to quit the event. No, it's been a while since I've done this. Can I get back in time? Oh, yes, I did. The race has started, but in official, I somehow managed to mess it up in the first few seconds, Tim. On the wrong way, it looks like.
Yeah, so we've gone off on the reverse, and they're just coming up under the start-finish banner. We've got plenty of people pushing well over 2.5, so that's a good start. The Ds are all working together as well. No one's gone off crazy.
So how far down are they? Are they down on the flat roads yet?
Yeah, so we've just come under the start-finish banner. We are 200 meters past the start-finish banner.
Oh, wait, we're doing the Watopia flat course, so they're going that way, aren't they?
They're going reverse.
Oh, that's why. That is. Can I just go back to myself and follow the bees? We're gonna follow the bees. Okay, I have never done a broadcast on the Watopia volcano flat course, so I actually thought I lost them, but they were going the right way because I saw them turn around and I went, "That's not right." We'll catch up with the D's eventually. Yeah. I'm sure about that.
I've got the D's on screen at the moment, and they're just coming under the rock tunnel. So everyone's got off to a good start. No one's broken away off the front. And to be fair, we've got a really good number of Polish riders here. Yeah. Sometimes these sort of things get invaded by anyone and anyone that just wants to do 50k on the volcano flat. But it looks like we're going to have a really good race. We're in Eastern Europe.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, having other riders show up, just doing it, because they won't be, in the results, they know that they will not be counted. But 50 kilometers is 50 kilometers, and it's okay signing up. We're seeing Bachmann, we're seeing a Haijo. These are premier names on Zwift. These are juggernauts, as Nathan Gale usually would say. These are strong riders just out there, doing their turn in the Polish National Championships. There's a question in the comment section saying, when are the Belgian Championships on? I'm not quite sure when they're going to be on Big Plate, but we had the Dutch National Championships commentated by Bobby Traxel and Steven Dallerbue, which was absolutely awesome. That was so fun to watch that unveil as Jens Tempelar won that one. That was a great race commentated by the Dutch Federation over on their Facebook channel as we're waiting for the A's and the B's to get underway as we're in their starting pen. We also had the Swedish National Championships. If you want the Belgian National Championships, all you have to do is contact one of the major race organizers or one of the major Belgian teams like TKBE and say, "Hey, wouldn't it be neat to have our own Belgian Championships?" All they gotta do is get in touch with us from Zwift and we'll set up an event, and then that's the unofficial or official Belgian National Championships. You know, Tim, you know what I want to see, Tim? I want to see the UK National Championships of Zwift.
Oh, wow. Imagine that.
I was going to make a server joke saying the servers might not be able to handle that, but they've actually been handing up. We've done 2 GCN events where the servers have not gone down, so I think that has earned its marks. Just saying. I see a lot of people because my role at Zwift is a social media assistant, so I see when we announce events like the GCN event or the Dutch National Championships, the first thing that comes up is, will the servers be able to withstand this? And I say the servers have been working out. They've been gaining strength, and they're now able to withstand the entourage of GCN or, the many legions of the Dutch federations. It's been pretty good, solid so far, wouldn't you say, Tim?
Yeah, it is growing, and I think the volcano course has been a good addition to that. I've done a couple of races just on the sort of criterium circuit, and that's pretty frenetic and intense. It's good fun. So,
I'm envious. I've not had to do that one yet. The crit circuit. Is it really like a real crit?
It is, but in a real crit, in my opinion, the corners are the real struggling bits, unless you're right at the front, because you're constantly accelerating in and out, whereas Zwift kind of helps with that because it does the steering for you. So maybe if you develop something like that. But yeah, all the little climbs, little hills, everyone's just throwing attacks all over the place.
Right now, at 10 o'clock in the morning, we have 64 viewers watching the Polish National Championships. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in on a Saturday morning. I know you could be out riding yourself or you could be making breakfast for the missus, but instead you're choosing to spend it with us here on Swift Community Live as we're waiting for the A's and the B's to get going. This is an Australian pursuit race. The D's went up the road. Now the B's are starting. They're going to be chasing down the C's and the D's as there will only be one winner. There might be four staggered starts, but the first rider to cross the line, the first one to do the 50 kilometers, will be awarded the title of the best Polish rider on Zwift. The B riders are underway. What do you think so far, Tim?
Well, I'm still with the D's, and they're just coming down the small little switchbacks on the climb of the volcano. So they'll soon be leaving the volcano again to go back onto the main Watopia Island. And to be honest, they're working really well as a group. So I think it's going to be a tough challenge for anyone who's got a bit of a later start time, really.
I like that. So the biggest obstacle of Zwift is the lack of communication, Zwift racing, sorry, is the lack of communication between riders. Currently, it's very difficult to put out high watts and communicate with the riders around you unless you know each other pre-race. And that obstacle, these riders will have to overcome if they want a shot at being the winner of the race. The Bs have to work together. They have to take turns because Tim, when I first started riding, the first rule you told me was Jesper, never ever go to the front. Does that apply to these riders as well, Tim?
No, this is where I would say you've got to be able to be successful. You have to take a little turn on the front. Obviously, if you're really struggling, then no, you don't take a turn because that will actually slow the whole group down. But if you've got it, you've got to offer it up to the team. At the moment, all these Ds have to be friends with each other. Perhaps in 3.5 laps time they won't be, but for individual success they've got to work as a group.
Have you raced this course before, the Volcano Flat course?
I have raced it the other way around, so I haven't raced it in reverse, but I do love the idea of now we're doing races in reverse because it just you get an emptier road and it's a bit more of an honest race, I think, rather than having people to draft off and things like that.
If you don't know who Tim is, we did a short introduction when the stream started, but I've seen plenty of viewers tune in since then. Tim is an A rider who recently has done really well in Zwift racing. I asked him to come on here because he's got such a vast majority of experience racing on Zwift, whereas I'm usually on the other side commentating like this, but Tim is on the bike. So this is a long race, Tim. How would you play this out? If you were out there, we're seeing the B category on my end. If you were sitting here near the back, how would you play this?
So if you're starting in the A's and B's, there's going to be everyone has started with a realization that you're on the back foot, but you have to be working as a team. So what I would be doing is I'd be on the keyboard or I'd be in Discord or something like that, and not sort of, well, this is my personal thing, is I would be talking people through it. I'd be like, okay guys, let's not go mad, let's not hurt each other. The only way we're going to track down the people in front of us is if we work together for the first bit. It's creating alliances, it's making people understand the situation, and then this is such a flat course that any piece of uphill,
it is the flattest course on Zwift.
Yeah, any piece of a little bit of uphill, come the third and fourth lap, I'd be either looking to attack or looking to defend against attacks that go out.
Ooh, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Sorry for cutting in this, Tim, but I'm on Zwift Power right now, keeping an eye on it. A great tool, by the way, for Zwift racing. In the D group, there are actually 5 riders from Team Poland. So you were mentioning communicating with each other. I think they're doing just that because they're breaking away. They're on the front of the D group, averaging around 2.5 watts per kilogram, and they're 4 kilometers in. Further down, we've got the C's, who are about 3 kilometers down on the D group, and then we've got the B's on the way as well now. So currently it looks like the gap between each group is around 3 kilometers. So that means you really have to dig deep to catch up to the group ahead of you because they're going to be working together, especially in the D group. They may only go to 2.5 watts per kilogram, but if they can work together as a unit, then I think they might even. That would be, to be fair, Tim, that would really be a surprise to see a D rider go all the way to a win. That'd be like equivalent of a Cat 4 winning a handicap race in the real world, which, to be fair, doesn't happen that often, but I think it could happen today.
Yeah, that would be a shock. But also, I'm still got my eyes on the front of the D's here, and they have got an absolute break. They've rolled a pair of double sixes here because they've come back onto the main course in what looks like a group ride. So I don't know whether it's a ZHR Saturday morning ride or something like that, but it looks to be going at about 2.5 to 3 watts per kilo.
So essentially what they did is they jumped onto the train station, they somehow managed to fall through, station 9 3/4, and then they landed on the Hogwarts Express and they're on their way to glory. It is essentially what happened to the D group.
Yeah. So it's going to throw a bit of carnage, I think, into the Ds because everyone's going to be going up this little climb after the Italian village at different speeds. But we'll just have to see where this group sort of develops. Obviously, they're now being charged down 4 minutes. The A's have started 4 minutes ago, so they'll be into the volcano by now.
We're seeing a few C riders being just eaten alive by the B group now as they've been shot at the back, and the B group, the steaming train that is coming up and catching riders one by one as they're working their way back. They have just exited the volcano course and they're on their way over into the Italian village. In the chat, I see Kasia Kushnik is saying, right on Jarek. Who is Jarek? Because he may be the #1 most controversial rider in the entire world of Zwift racing. Tim, I know you know him pretty well as well. Who is Jarek?
So Jarek Tarek was he was always known as Team Poland because he was
Team Poland.
Yeah, he was Team Poland to start with, and we used to race against him in the A's. And everyone was a little bit skeptical about not necessarily his ability, but when you're in the A's and you see people throwing out massive watts and then they don't have that lightning strike next to their power wattage, you're kind of like, oh, okay. And there's a sort of unwritten rule within our Zwift racing, I believe, that if someone goes off the front like that, you leave them, you let them go, because you're just going to ruin the race for everybody else. And I think Jarek unfortunately got a bit. He got a bit of abuse because of that.
Rep, basically.
He got a really bad rep because of what he sometimes did. But the community came together and realised that he was obviously a massive Zwift fan. He put in the kilometres. He worked really hard. And I can't remember the circumstances behind it, but there was a sort of community vote.
It was the KISS Annual Fitness Award.
That's the one, and it enabled him to get a proper setup, and it's really great that despite all of the bad rep that he got, it was basically people that didn't believe him, but they were being beaten by him, so they didn't like it. I mean, I don't like being beaten by anyone, even if they're far better than me. But now he's got the proper setup. He's back in Zwift racing, so it's great to see him there.
So the circumstances revolving around this was that KISS, Keep It Simple Stupid, teamed up with a company and they wanted to reward somebody in the Zwift community at the end of 2016 due to their massive performance on Zwift and Zwift racing, called the KISS Fitness Award, I believe it was called, where the community could vote on a member who they believed deserved to get an entire upgrade to their Zwifting station. And the community came together and said, Jarek Tarash is the rider who has gone through hell and came out on the other side, a new rider. He deserves his award. He has taken the abuse of the community on behalf of every single Power Ranger, C-Power users in Zwift racing, and he has done it with an upper chin. He has just kept his face up and said, I just want to race, I just want to jump on, have a fun time. And he then went on to win this award and get a new setup and got a smart trainer. Of course, that means his power is going to be better estimated and he's going to be jumping down a category. He's now in the B category, but we're still going to keep an eye on Jared. It's a Cinderella story, really, how he just didn't care. He wanted to get fitness in. He wanted to ride. He was enjoying the social aspect of Zwifting, of cycling, and then somehow out of all that, he got a smart trainer. He got an upgrade. He's now a B rider, but he's representing Team Poland. So out there, if you're Polish, should really be proud of Jarek. I'm not even Polish, but I'm proud of what he's done to the Swift racing community. As a B group now are closing up to getting to the alien, I guess alien statues that is out on course. You know what I need, Tim? I need that Swift blog map somewhere here so I can get all the official names on there.
So just to give you a little bit of update on the D category, we've got Liss, who is 11 seconds in front of another group, and he's just entered the Ocean Boulevard tunnel, obviously in the reverse direction. So he's coming around now about 3 kilometers out from completing the first lap. He's putting out a strong 2.4, around 210 watts. So he's doing well, and his heart rate isn't above 150 either, so he's taking it sensibly.
His max heart rate, Tim, is 100. So I'm using Swift Power, a great tool for race broadcasting, and according to that, we're actually, as the B group is now catching up, the B group is 1 minute 48 behind the C group, and it looks like the Bs might be able to catch the Cs any minute now. But according to Swift Power, Liz weighs 85 kilogram. He's got a max power, or an average power of 249 absolute watts. And his max heart rate ever recorded on Zwift is 165. Either he has not raced hard enough, or he's currently killing himself out on course 10 beats away from his max heart rate.
Yeah, I mean, and what we have to remember, and Zwift Power is really good at that. I mean, Jasper, what do you max out at?
206.
Yeah, 206. So if you saw me, for example, I max out about 170. If I was at 168, I would obviously be right on the edge. Whereas if your avatar was at 168, that's a completely different thing. And that's why Zwift Power is able to give people like us and Nathan and Johnny and people like that a bit of an understanding of how much it's hurting them, how much it's hurting the rider right now.
Yeah.
So
we're seeing Wozniak right now in the B group sit at 182. If I find him on here, Wozniak's max heart rate is 196. So he's at 182, which is 30 beats higher than Liz, but he's essentially at the same level of pain. 10 beats away from max heart rate, yet 30 absolute points between them. That's what training with heart rate. I remember when I first got into Zwift racing and Zwift contacted me saying, "Hey Jesper, you really need a heart rate monitor." I'm like, "Nah, I don't need it, but I'll take it." And once I got it on there, I was just hooked. You can, by reading a number, you can feel, you can know how far into the hurt they are, which really makes heart rate monitor training a great tool to get stronger and get better.
And that also makes the difference between real life racing and Zwift racing. All these statistics, these numbers.
What do you mean? I always look over the shoulder and look at their bike computer to see what their watts are, what their heart rate is.
Lean over to stare at their step to work out how much of their max heart rate they're at. But yeah, no, it's those kind of things which adds a different dimension to Zwift racing, I think. And you can try and predict things, but then you often get burnt.
Very often, very, very often. But that's a part of the art of Zwift racing. I mentioned last night that Zwift racing is an art. It can be perfected. You just need to race, and race some more. And that's how Zwift racing is. Yesterday, we saw, the name escaped me of the rider who won, but Adam Webb finished second with 3 point... You won? Oh, Cliven of Norway won. He averaged 4.3 watts per kilogram for the entirety of the race, whereas Adam Webb finished second at 3.8 watts per kilogram. 0.5 lower, yet still finished second, where the riders behind him were much further up in the average watts per kilogram. So it's an art to racing, and it takes time perfecting it. Have you perfected it, Tim?
Nope, nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
And it does completely depend on what weight you are and what the topography of the course is, what the hills. I mean, I'm not a light rider, but I've got TT power, so this kind of flat race would be all right for me because it's short, sharp hills. Richmond's quite good for me from my point of view as well, because there isn't that really long sort of 5-minute effort that you need to put out. So I've maybe perfected how to do a circuit, a volcano circuit or a Watopia flat, but put me on the hilly course, put me on the Epic Com, I'm on my back foot.
So it's funny you mentioned that because personally, I felt like I mastered the classics course in the C category when I was a C rider. I had raced that course over and over and over, and at the very end, I could consistently get top 5 in that course. Never win, of course, because that's really difficult, but I could consistently get top 5, and then I upgraded into the Bs. And then what I thought of how I mastered this category, I was nowhere near anymore. It's a totally different game changer. Have you, Tim? I was linked to this awesome video yesterday by the vegan cyclist. Have you seen his recent video called Just Breathe?
Yes, yeah, I did.
On a scale from 1 to absolutely freaking amazing, majestic video ever made, where would you say that is?
Well, it's up there because it just makes you realise that everyone sort of goes through
The
this
exact
sort of
same
life
process.
Well, it's the same process, the same life cycle of, yeah, I really want to get better. I really want to get better. What am I doing? And then after a few weeks or a few months, you're like, no, I really want to get better. I really want to get better. But what am I doing? And I think all cyclists go through that, whether you're just starting out or you've been doing it for years. It's it's the great thing about cycling. I think you can come back to it after many years and fall back in love with it.
Yeah. If you've not already watched that video, it's called Just Breathe, a cycling motivational story by the vegan cyclist. Hit it up on YouTube. I guarantee you, once you watch those 40 minutes, you're gonna have that urge to jump on your bike or just do something, maybe clean your room or go out and walk the dogs or tell your spouse you love her or him. It's that kind of video, and you just sit there afterwards thinking, yes, that was good. Anyway, enough of that motivational stuff. We're back to the racing at hand. We're sticking with the Bs on my end because the broadcasting tools are still not there for Zwift racing. Since this is a staggered start, you have to quit the event and then go out into the free world. I could jump back and try to find the Cs or jump front and try to find the As, but as we saw when the Ds started, it wasn't even 5 seconds into the race and I lost them. So instead, we're going to stick with the Bs. Tim has got eyes on the front. I will use Zwift Power to give you radio updates. Think that's good enough, don't you think, Tim?
Yeah, so just to give you a quick update, we've finished the first lap from the Ds, and that group, that social ride that was helping the Ds, turned left to go up the hilly course. I think they're probably on a figure 8 course or something like that. So now we've got Liz, who's about 20 seconds ahead of a good group, about 7 or 8 riders who are just coming under the rock tunnel, about to turn right back onto the volcano. So Liz is still doing a fantastic job to stay out there, but it might be wise for him to come back to the group. I don't know where the Cs are currently, but from that point of view, the Ds are working well together.
I can tell you the majority of the Cs have been caught by the Bs. There's still a few Cs out in the front, but the Bs have caught up with the Cs, and they are about 1.5 kilometers behind the Ds. So it looks like the junction will be made rather sooner than later, because the Bs now, they're 1 kilometer behind the Ds, but they're going 1.5 watts per kilogram faster, meaning they're going 5 kilometers an hour faster than the Ds basically. So they will catch up soon. Tim, we're seeing now, because the Bs are catching the Cs, a bunch of the Cs are being thrown out the back, but a few Cs are actually hanging on. Well, do they have a chance of, outfoxing the Bs?
I don't think they necessarily have a chance to outfox them, but because there are no big elevation changes in this course, there is an ability for a C, if they are capable to draft and sensibly go with any slight move, to hold on to that group of Bs and be dragged further away from the Cs that have been kicked out the back. There's certainly times when you get a mass start where some Bs will effectively just go into the red for 15 minutes, so that the A group drags them away from all of the other B group. And from my point of view as an A racer, you kind of have to accept that they're there, but they probably won't be there at the end, so count them out. It's a good plan, a way of doing it. If you want to win your B category, if you can hold on to the A's as long as possible, when eventually you do get kicked out, you're probably only 10k from the end, but you're 3 or 4 minutes ahead of the B category.
I actually remember a story. So Andrew Shuttler, a member of Team TFC, the race that we covered last night, is a good friend of mine who I see basically every other week now, and he mentioned the other day that just for fun he entered the A race to see how he would do. He's a B rider, a low B rider. He entered the race, he stuck in there, and he actually he finished in the middle of the pack. Just because you're a B rider doesn't mean you can't do well in an A race, or if you're a C rider in a B race, because what watts per kilogram don't describe is how smart you're racing, how good is your sprint, how good is your acceleration, what's your kick like, what's your VO2 max effort like. Watts per kilogram FTP wise only goes so long. Of course you can always tell a bit, like when you got those riders that can hit 5 watts per kilogram for an hour, those will just TT effort away. But sometimes there's so much more to Zwift than just watts per kilogram. That's what I really like about Zwift's racing. As the B riders now entering the volcano, as we mentioned before, the new volcano course on Zwift, heading inside the crit. What's your lap record, Tim? How many laps have you done on this course?
I haven't done a lot of laps because I haven't done the 25 in total yet, which I need to get on and do. But it's around, I want to say 5:19, but I think that was in a race where I was just trying to hold on. And sometimes that does skew your times, I suppose, if you're in a group of fast riders. But yeah, a TT effort I think is 5:19, 5:07, something like that. But
that's an entire minute faster than my fastest time, Tim. That's incredible.
So it's just about, because you know it's not far. I think you just put the hurt on, and it's just 5 minutes of pain.
Ooh, so we've got the gap made now, Tim. Are you seeing this? If you're in the D group watching right now, the B group is 15 seconds behind, and they are about to be the front group on Zwift.
So yeah, Liz has just come off the switchbacks of the volcano, so he'll be turning right back onto the main course soon. And then the group after that is 24 seconds back, but I can see that the in Gamba Polish colours, the group has grown, so it's clear that they've made the catch.
But the A group, or the B group, is actually thinned down quite a bit. B group coming out of the volcano has perhaps lost 5 to 6 riders, but looking at Zwift Power, the A group is not too far behind either from the B group. We're only halfway through the race, or almost halfway through the race. The race is 49.3 kilometers in length. They've still got 3.5 laps to go. Well, I guess it's 2.5 laps to go out on this course. Are you still sticking with your prediction that a B racer is going to win this race?
I'll stick with it because I'm stubborn, but but whether it'll actually happen or not, I'm not quite sure now, because I wasn't expecting the catch to happen this quickly. We're just over a quarter of the way through the race, and we've already got a bunching up. So I think the amount of Bs that there are compared to As, it could still happen. But if the As have got the sprint on it, then it could be down to that.
You're mentioning the sprint. Do you think this is going to come down to a sprint at the end?
I think due to the shape of the course, yes. I think there'll be enough people, unless someone coming out of the tunnel on the 4th lap, Ocean Boulevard Tunnel, if someone throws sort of 10 watts per kilo for 30 seconds.
Throws a spanner in the works.
Yeah, throws a mat and then is able to TT and hold on, turn right and go for the sprint finish. If they can do that, then yeah, no, we're not going to come down to a sprint. I raced the reverse, 4 laps in the reverse on Saturday, I think it was, and everyone was throwing anything at any hill. We were throwing down some big numbers, but in the end it came down to a 10-man sprint in the A's. So you have to remember the wonderful thing of draft in Zwift as well. So if the person in front of you is putting out 7, you only probably need to put out 5.5 to stay with them. Mm-hmm. So if someone's going to jump, they're going to have to go hard and hope that they've caught a lot of people off guard.
It'll be interesting to watch to see how this unfolds, because I don't think we're not kidding anyone when we're saying that Polish riders on Zwift, Tim and I are not the most knowledgeable of who to watch out for. So what we'll do is we'll just keep looking at how the group's going to thin down, and then we're going to see these riders as they come closer. We're going to see who is doing what, who is sitting where at their heartbeat, because usually there are not that many Polish riders out on the race, and this makes me so happy to see we have like what 200 Polish riders showing up for the first ever unofficial Polish road race or national championship. That's just great to see that numbers can be pulled out like this when there is pride, there's national pride on the line as the B's, C's, and D's are collective in the front, yet the A's are still chasing back.
Yeah, so we're just coming out of the Italian village, and you've got B's, C's, and D's all together. So it's going to be a good fight from here, I think.
By the way, I am interested to see what you think of this, Tim, because in a recent addition to Zwift, rain was added to Watopia. How does this make you feel?
As a British person, I'm more than comfortable and happy to deal with rain. But I I think some people have been a bit annoyed by it because I don't go on Zwift. I don't go outside because it's raining, and therefore I go on Zwift, and it's raining there as well. But I just think it adds a little level of realism. It changes it up a little bit. It changes rather than just a big blue sky. You've got some changing atmosphere. Anyone who's watching who is British knows that we love to talk about the weather in small talk terms. So I don't mind it. It adds a level of realism as long as it isn't just raining constantly.
Well, that would make it the British. That would make it real. Right. I live in the UK now. It's in where I live in Godalming. If it's not raining, it's freaking cold. The only time it's really warm is like right in the morning between 8 and 10, where you got that morning dusk, and then after that it's like, oh, skies are dark again now. I guess I better go inside. Starts raining. I hear you though. But the only reason I brought it up is because I saw a few people over on the Swift Riders forum on Facebook say, why is there rain on Watopia suddenly? Is my game bugged? It's quite funny to follow how that goes. Adam Webb, by the way, in the comment section below, who finished second yesterday in the Primal Road Race presented by TFC, says that in the Hare and Hounds format, it's always the B riders that wins. But usually, races aren't this long. Races are not 50 kilometers in length. The ODC hosts a brilliant H&H race that's usually around 30 to 35 kilometers long on the London course, but this is 50 kilometers long, and the A's should be just on the heels of the B riders.
Yeah, I agree with Adam that it normally happens, but we don't get 50 kilometres, as you say, so there's more time for it to play out. I think the last Hare and Hounds I was the first A home at about 26th, 27th, something like that. So, yeah, over 30, 35 kilometres, you don't have the time to make the catch of 6 or 7 minutes. And it's good because that keeps everyone fighting all the way to the end. But it does change up the results a bit. And I know how much Adam likes to fiddle around with points.
The A's are 1 minute and 25 seconds behind the B group. And I'm looking over on Zwift Power to see how many of these Polish riders have raced before on Zwift, and it's a surprisingly few amount of riders. We got, well, that's a Brit, never mind. We've got Marika, who's finished 15th and 51st in the D category before. We've got, this is Tuczynski, who's finished 4th in the A category before, racing for Team Poland. And then that's about it. We also got Misha from the C category, finishing 19th. That is the amount of riders that have raced prior to today on Zwift. Everyone else is newcomer to Zwift racing, or at least they have not paired their account with Zwift Power yet. Also, Tim, there are power-ups in the race. I can see on Zwift Power that quite a few power-ups have been popped already.
Yeah, and again, I think that's another aspect to it. Maybe you could have a gamified championships, they're non-gamified championships, but you've got to. I'm always wary to use mine in case I get into a situation where I'll need it and I don't have it. So it's another level of tactics, skill. Some people use them as soon as they get them, but you got to hold it back. And
you get antsy, you get the power up, you're like, oh, I gotta press that big red button.
Yeah, and it affects the races, but everyone gets the opportunity. So, I mean, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. But
I remember a race I did 4 months ago, where I got 3 experience power-ups in a row. And that was the exact same moment. I took my heart rate monitor off and threw it on the ground.
Yeah, that can that can just kill the vibe.
Yeah, but I do love power ups though. Honestly, having that power up where you just because there's no denying that the aero power up is incredibly powerful on Swift. If you go into a sprint and you have an aero power up and you have a, let's say, a mediocre sprint, suddenly that sprint can be turned into the most amazing sprint. You basically go from being a pretty okay Johnny Neesman to a full blown out Mark Cavendish in a turn like that, which is why I really like Swift and I like power ups. It may be a gamified version, but at heart, deep down, we're all gamers. We've all played Mario Kart. We all played maybe Pokemon. I know Tim is actually the outlier to this. He's never really had a life playing games. But me personally, growing up, I've always had a Nintendo 64. I've had a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. And seeing power-ups like this, boost power-up being popped, all I remember is, where is the banana split? Where is the banana peel? Throw it out the back and have a guy like, the juggernauts like LMV, Cartwright, hit that banana peel and go, oh, I crashed. That's all I'm missing, Tim.
Yeah, no. Whilst I didn't spend most of my life in front of a games console, I do provide a pretty mean opposition when it comes to Mario Kart. I'm a big fan of that, and I think we've got the gamified version through using power-ups, but I think there's also that opportunity to take it one step further. But again, we're all very competitive as cyclists, and therefore you have to also, yeah, people are going to get frustrated, and you'll get comments coming up like, yeah, I was going so well, and then I got hit by a turtle shell, and that ruined my race for me. And I think if we're going to go to the massive gamified area, we have to take it with a bit of a sense of humor as well. Because at the end of the day, it's all good fun and fitness, isn't it?
It is, it is. If you're watching this and you want to get into Swift racing, but you heard power-ups, no, I don't want to do that. It sounds too complicated. Don't worry, not all races have power-ups enabled. Some races, like, just say, you know what, this is a cycling simulator, and we would like to keep true to that concept in our races. So we disable anything related to non-cycling, no gaming, just your kicker, your Neo, your Elite, your Magnus. I'm not going to go and mention every single brand out there of trainers, your bike and yourself on Swift. That's how it works, which is really, really cool. But me personally, I like the fact that you can have that power up. But not only that, they're also, let's call them micro power-ups, Tim, because different bikes, different wheels, different weights kind of affect the game in total. So whether or not you admit it, there are several things you can do to become fast, to become stronger, without using power-ups.
Yeah, so from that point of view, I I hate doing hilly races in the A's because a lot of the A's are a lot lighter than I am. I come from a sort of triathlon time trialing background, and therefore I can put out some high watts, but when you start going uphill, it really starts to hurt. So from that point of view, I lost quite a lot of weight over Christmas for various reasons and things like that. And I suddenly realized that, oh my God, how much that actually has an effect. I thought, oh yeah, everyone sort of uses I'm heavy as an excuse. But when you've got 65 kilos against 80, it makes a huge difference. And then you've got the concept bike or the Cervelo S5 against the first Zwift bike that you get. All these
the Zwift Carbon.
Yeah, all these little things add up to becoming more competitive, or being able to hold on that little bit longer, being able to get over that little lump so that you can carry on for the next lap. So, for example, if you were able to come out of Ocean Boulevard in the group, you've got another couple of kilometers before the work's going to hurt again up another hill. So it's just taking those kilometers off and just using your matches appropriately and helping with the kit that you've got and the weight that you're dealing with.
So, mentioning the bikes, if you have the bike like this gentleman's got at the back here, the Tron bike, that's actually the fastest bike on Zwift, but also the most difficult bike to obtain. If you got this bike, you can actually go much faster than the others for less power. But there's an urban myth going around that when you're using the Tron bike, you actually get less draft. Whether it's true or not, that's up for you guys to decide. We've got Vachoina out there using the Tron bike with That like a green, like a lime green. I'm kind of digging this lime green color on the wheels on the Zwift Tron bike as they're heading into the volcano again. 25 kilometers into the race, 34 minutes. An update on the A's to see where they are. Have they caught up? Are they getting closer? It has gone from 124 to 110. 110, Tim, with halfway through the race. Do you think the A's will catch back up?
I think if they keep working together, yes. However, so at the moment, how many? There's about 7 or 8 A's who are working together at 110. If they continue to work together, I think that's plausible. But then we look and they only started 2 minutes behind, didn't they, from the Bs? So this is another demonstration that the Bs, when there's a big group of them, can get to the same speed as 5 or 6 A's.
Because the issue we're seeing, or not the issue, the problem at hand for the A group is that it's simply not large enough. There are not enough riders to take turns. Yesterday evening, we saw BC to finish, I think it was 8th or 10th in the race, and he did great hanging on. But right now, they're starting with this handicap. There's a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 A riders versus this group of Bs of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if we're just making up the numbers, it's 15 versus 7. That's 8 more riders to take turns in the B group than it is in the A group. And looking at the watts per kilograms, there's not that big of a discrepancy between the A's and the B's. There's about a 0.4 watts difference between the A's and the B's as they're going around now. And riders like Machevsky is weighing 90 kilograms at 4.3 watts per kilogram. He's putting out 400 absolute watts for half an hour. That is just, whew, and especially on the flat. So the way Zwift calculates power, according to the Zwift blog, is that on flat, absolute watts have a massive influence, while going up climbs, watts per kilogram has a bigger influence because of the gravity effect. But we're looking at Machevsky. He's been putting out a solid 400 watts on average as he's gone off the front in the race. He's got a 4-second gap. This bodybuilder, Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, that's some pretty huge watts he's throwing down there. The only thing I can perhaps think where this is going to differ from a B win in a Hare and Hounds is the length as well. So we've said the length might help the A's to get it back, but also the A's are probably a higher level of fitness because they're able to put out higher levels of watts, and therefore are they going to be able to hold on for a 50k race for longer? So we could see this, which the idea of Hare of Hounds, all come together in the last 10 kilometers as the Bs begin to fatigue a bit more. Mm-hmm. They may also stop working together as well. And all these sort of aspects need to be considered when we're going to try and attempt to pick a winner.
I'm just blown away by Machevsky. Like 400 watts for 30 minutes out on course. In the chat, watching right now over on Facebook Zwift Community Live, if there's anyone that knows Machevsky, is he a professional rider? Is he like like, I was gonna say an actual athlete, but all of us are actual athletes. Is he a renowned athlete? Because Tim, 400 watts for 35 minutes on average, that's just unheard of.
It is huge. He is also, though, and I think this is obviously based on the watts per kilo thing, is he's 90 kilos.
Yeah.
So you've got more muscle mass to throw down at the pedals, which usually creates higher levels of watts. Again, we could get some fatiguing from the Bs, and I think that could. Another great aspect of Zwift Power is at the end of the race, the results, they tell you how you did in the first half compared to how you did in the second half as a percentage of your watts. And therefore, we could see quite a lot of drop off. You've got adrenaline pumping. You could become the Polish unofficial Zwift champion. So from that point of view, but it looks, as Zwift Power just updates, that he's gone 4 seconds clear of everyone else. So we'll just have to see how it plays out, I think.
He's up to 8 seconds now. We're seeing him on the right. His name is D. Machevsky, A set L, and he's 8 seconds ahead of the B group chasing behind. Again, if we update and try to find the A group out there on course, 1 minute and 4 seconds. They've caught 6 seconds over the last few kilometers. Is it enough? It will come down to the wire. It'll be close because the A riders, of course, they've been keeping something back. There's a reason why they are the elite category on Zwift. They've got that extra kick, that extra punch as they're nearing the finish line. We've got 20 kilometers to go. A group of 15 B riders in the front with 1 minute and 4 seconds down to the A group chasing them, where there's 7 riders trying to do their best. I mean, the C's and the D's, they had their fun time in the limelight. Now it's up to the big guns, the B's and the A's. Running through the names, I see we have a Dane up here as well, F. Achilles, just trying to hang on to Machevsky, just covering him. We've got Kudla, we've got Virginia, we've got AW, Sorenko, Adamuso, Prichelensko. I was going to try, but that name will require linguistic. Slumcheskovsky, and that's about it in the front group.
Well, whilst I've managed to stay with the D's for quite a long time, the inevitable has happened, and I've now lost all areas of communication with the current race. So I'm dealing with Zwift Power. But just shout out to Eric Min, who's currently doing a nice little workout out on Zwift as well. So I'm sure he's watching this as well. But I'm also watching him. So it's good to see that Saturday morning, not everyone's outside because it's raining where I am at the moment, but getting a workout in. And the Polish riders certainly are. How many, I can't see at the moment, just how many sort of non-Polish people have we got in the mix at the top?
2.
Could that be it? So it won't really be an aspect that we'll be
No,
worried
it will not cloud the race. We've got Jay Madole from the UK, who's not really doing much. Perhaps F. Achilles from Denmark could put shame to the name of the Danish people, considering the race results, but so far he's just marking Machevsky. He's not racing with him. I mean, they're trying to drop each other. Machevsky just went up to 8 watts per kilogram, and Achilles reacted to this, and they're going on to the attack. But again, as we mentioned earlier, everything is allowed to... Oh no, what did I do? We lost them. We lost them. I somehow clicked the wrong rider. We're trying... Now the question is, where are they on course? They don't go through the S's. Now, this is the Watopia flat course, volcano course, which is quite difficult for me to catch up on because I'm not familiar on where they stop. But it's the reverse course, so we gotta go back. I apologize, guys, but as you know, the current Zwift broadcasting tools are subpar, I guess you could say, with a little... Come on, we've lost them. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to close it down, and then we're going to find the riders, and then we're going to join them, because I don't know how else to get back on there, because then we have to do like trial and error trying to find that front group. So what if we go this way? Does that lead to the volcano course? Now we're on this one. No, we're going to close it down, we're going to bring it back up. Give us a second, guys, because we're going to catch them up again. 1 second, because the current tools in Zwift broadcasting are not there. We're essentially using a fitness game to try and broadcast into racing, which is sometimes not that optimal. So give us a second. Anyway, Tim, what's the update on Zwift Power?
All I know is Nathan and Johnny make it look really easy.
Yeah, massive respect.
You've got to give them huge credit for that. So Zwift Power has just kicked out another update, and we've got 45 minutes into this at the moment. And unfortunately, as we've got it on Zwift Power at the moment, we've got a Dane and a Japanese person out front. But other than that, we've got a lot of Team Poland. There's six Team Poland riders 5 seconds off the lead, and it looks like as a B category that they've really gone to work on that. The first A rider is still over a minute behind, 1:02 behind, putting out so far he's averaged 324 watts at 4.5 watts per kilo for 29 kilometers. So that's a really great effort. He's also the heart rate of 166 beats per minute with a max of 190. So that looks pretty comfortable, and it looks, I would guess from these statistics, that the A's are still working together. We've got 5 A's working well. Admittedly, one of them is Austrian and one of them is Norwegian, but it's all creating what will hopefully be a grand finale when Jasper brings back the wonderful...
I'm trying to find them, but the issue when you have to join somebody is it's not in alphabetical order. Okay, Poland. Oh no, I found it. No. Poland. PLA. Mr. Orange. We need to give me a name that's in front group. Okay, Pachovsky. Vachoina, I found him. We're back. I think we're back. I apologize for the delay, but I think we may be back. We found Vachoina. We found the B group. This is the front B group. They're going on to the pier halfway through the course. 33 kilometers into the race. 16 kilometers left. 1.5 lap is what they've got to go on this Voltopia volcano flat course. It's actually been really fast paced so far. We're looking at an average speed of around 45 to 46 kilometers an hour, Tim. That is just, wow, that's fast.
That is quick as well. Again, it is a flat course, so even when you come into these small lumps, you're going to be traveling very fast and get up very quickly, but it's still very impressive.
On the front still is Machevsky. He's 20 seconds off the front with his B group trying to chase him down, led by F. Achilles. I don't know if he's going to come back. Like those 400 watts, those 400 absolute watts on the flat course, Tim. I think that's going to be the deciding factor.
I'm not going to call it yet. When we go under the banner for the final time.
It's a wise move. Looking at where the A's are out on course, we are trying to find them as they are 1 minute and 1 second behind now. 1 minute and 1 second. They're not great. They're not gaining fast enough on the B group. They've gained 3 seconds over 5 kilometers. They need to go. They just need to say, you know what, guys? It's time for all or nothing. We're either gonna win in a blazing glory, or we're gonna go out like a match. That's it. There's just something has to happen in that group as they are 1 minute behind Machowski. Well, to be fair, they're 1 minute behind Machowski the Beast. They are 45 seconds behind the group of B riders. So they have caught up to the chasing group, but they're not gaining on the current leader.
Going to be an intense finish, I think.
Yeah, it's been building up here in the first ever unofficial Polish National Championships on Zwift this Saturday morning at 11 o'clock British time, 12 o'clock Polish time, I believe. Machewski, all these guys, they had their early lunch, breakfast, carved up, and then got on Zwift ready to roll. As we're doing 4 laps of the volcano course, 49.3 kilometers in total. This chasing group is working well together, but Machewski is still off the front. Machewski has not raced on Zwift before, and this looks to be his initial race on Zwift Power, as he's been averaging 4.4 watts per kilogram. It's worth mentioning though that if he keeps that up all the way to the finish line, he will receive an upgrade. But does that, see, Tim, I don't know how the legislation is on a Australian pursuit race. If you exceed your category limits, do you still get an upgrade and get nullified in the results?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I would assume he'd get an upgrade anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's his first race, was the B category the right decision? I'm not quite sure. It's these kind of questions that I don't know how we're going to get around it. But unfortunately, D races can be ruined by people that have come to their first race, and they've got, you can't blame them for it. It's just unfortunate that you've got people that don't know their own strength, perhaps, or don't have a calibrated trainer or something like that. And that's what it's a racing experience, and I expect the D's to become quite used to it. But I'm just here placed on the A group, so with Learjet, Hygel.
We see them now 55 seconds behind this group in front.
And they, to be fair to them, they are working really well together. The good thing about Zwift is you can see when people are really putting the hammer down, because much like a live pro race, the sort of peloton or the group gets strung out. And if it's a slow race, then it sort of gets all bunched up. And you can see here from this group that they're working hard, but they're working together, which is really positive. And yeah, I've just picked up on my screen 53 seconds. and counting. So
53 seconds. They have 13 kilometers, Tim, to catch 53 seconds. For 51 seconds, 50 seconds.
So,
Tim.
yeah, from my point of view as well, if they can see the same thing I can see, that's a
Yeah,
huge.
47 seconds.
It's a
50,
huge.
46.
It's a huge motivator that you can see the time there. So normally, or until what? So for about 50 minutes into this race, the A's would have
44.
been cycling blind, so they won't know where the front of the race is, and they've just got to commit that they know they've got to believe in their legs that if they keep doing this, they'll eventually turn up. I did the Kiss 100 last Sunday morning.
Oh, poor you.
And the worst thing about that is you get to the last 80 kilometers, you do 80 kilometers, the last 20, and everyone is so spread out or so close together that not the leaderboard, but the nearby riders on the right hand side keeps chopping and changing.
Yes.
So I was going up Box Hill for the last time, just wondering where anyone else was and whether I was going to get attacked. So now it's the sort of it is literally the hare and hounds. Now that these foxhounds know where the rabbit is, it's like a greyhound race now, and they're going to do everything.
They're going to get a cruel awakening or cruel surprise when they catch this group and realize there is still one rabbit out in the front. 31 seconds up the road now. Machevsky, the horse, as the chat has now dubbed him, is out in the front now. 30 seconds and gaining, but the group behind that at the 42 seconds, 41 seconds. I agree with you, Tim, that once you can see that group in front of you, it's like getting an energy gel. It's like getting fresh air. You can see them, you know exactly what you need to chase. The cooperation just comes together now. Suddenly everyone knows that's our target. But what they don't know is that Machevsky is 29 seconds up the road, and so they can't leave the catch too late, as they're now getting it down to 37 seconds, 36 seconds. Not only has this injected more life into the race, but I think this has also been a great little espresso for Tim and I, as there's been a little dull in the action for the last 20 minutes or so, but now that the A's and the B's are coming together, you're mentioning fatigue, you're mentioning higher level of fitness. Tim, I think you know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's very kind of you, but this is going to add the excitement. So they've just gone under the start-finish banner for the last time, the A group, and
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, but we're up at 5.5s at the moment on flats. So these boys have really started kicking it up. We've got heart rates all over the place. You can see their cadence has gone up. They're coming up the hill towards the rock tunnel, putting 500 watts in there. These boys want it, and I don't know whether they're watching or listening and have maybe realised that they need to go for it. But I think everyone's sort of shaken hands and said, "Yeah, good alliance." But this last lap is every man for himself.
Exactly. You know, when you do a crit, you do 40 minutes and suddenly you hear that bell ringing because we're going to the final few laps. Everyone starts to panic and says, "This is it," and just injects pace. And if you're not awake, if you're not paying attention, suddenly you're like, wow, everyone's really fast. And I was not prepared for that. I've been put out the back, as it's now down to 24 seconds. Marcin Pobieski asked, why are we not seeing the A's? The A's are just behind, 20 seconds. This is, if you're just tuning in, this is the unofficial World National Championships of Poland on Zwift. And so it's an Australian pursuit race where all that matters is whoever crosses that line first will be declared the winner. It doesn't matter if you're Cat 4, 3, 2, or 1. Whoever crosses that line first wins, and they've been separated out into increments of time where the D's started first and the C's 3 minutes after, the B's a certain time after, and the A's even more time after. The B's have caught every other category, but the A's 12 seconds behind, Tim.
Yeah,
We're
they can see
the junction.
And I think I would guess there'll be a reassertion of pace once they get to the B's. The B's might be sitting up because they realise they can't get back to the leader, and therefore they're sort of calling up some reserves to help push on. But as you said, just to speak from I was racing real life last year, and the crit bell rang, and everyone went into the next corner after the bell about 10 miles an hour faster than before, and everyone crashed. So luckily on Zwift we won't be seeing that now, but you can
Hey,
definitely
some people
see.
can crash on Zwift. It is possible.
Yeah, you can. But we're gonna see people really lighting it up now. I think.
With
But
9 kilometers to go, guys, I think it's time to make a prediction. The A's have now basically caught up to the B's, and we're going to see a collective group go on to the finish. You in the chat, I've got my chat over here, but I should be talking up there. You in the chat, let us know in the comments field below who you think will win this race. And I'll also hand this over to you, Tim. You have a bunch of names now, around 20 names. Pick a rabbit. Or a fox, for that sake.
I'm gonna go with Sito.
Oh, you stole my pick. I was literally on him.
B Sito is my call. He's injected this second level of pace just before the last lap, and I think he's going to call it. It's quite interesting though. Looking at this A group, there's only one person, two people on Cervelo S5s. So that again shows me that while Poland might not have lots of Zwifters, there are lots of people that are joining and lots of new people to it because you need plenty of miles in the legs to get
Level
to unlock
23,
these
I
bikes.
think it is? Or level 24?
Yeah, something like that. So it's great to see. I mean, there's 4 people on Treks and one person that's actually still survived on the Zwift Carbon. So good effort all around, really. But I can just see the catch about to happen on these poor bees that have been out front for 40k. And
Well, as the catch happens, Machevsky, Tim, 46 seconds ahead.
I think the A's, when they get through and then riders nearby will refresh, they may lose heart. So we'll have to see what happens.
I wonder if somebody's going to tell them that they've actually got Machevsky up front and see if they pay attention to that. Because you say they're going to inject more speed. You know what could also happen? They get complacent. They're like, okay, we caught the bees. Now the leash is over. We work together. We're out the front of the race. Now every man for themselves. Look around. And that's when the pace then comes down. But they've got a ride out in front who they have got. What happened to Machevsky? He's down to 7 seconds now. 6 seconds. Did he have a dropout or something? He was at 46 seconds, and now the gap up to Machevsky is down to 7 seconds. Did he take a wrong turn? Or did he get? Where's the team car? We need to get somebody up there. Marek says Daniel Vachonia on the Tron bike should win the race because that would just be epic. So Vachonia has got a router. He's got a fan in the chat cheering him on as we've got 8 kilometers to the finish line. The finish line comes with 49.3 kilometers to go, and we've got an attack off the front. We're seeing an ejection of pace from Piatek, from Prochusnov. The riders are attacking off the front now. Machevskov is back out to 40 seconds, so it looks like the Shimano neutral car or maybe the Mavic wheel service came out and helped him get back on the bike. 38 seconds, but it's coming down now. The riders are attacking left, right, and center. It's that bell lap, you know, it's that corner, 10 miles an hour faster. Just hope that everyone stays up, maybe doesn't burn out their trainer, or maybe gets a flat tire on the tire trainer, you know. Stay in touch, guys. Stay with it. Tim, 33 seconds.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's 32 seconds. He's probably going just up the S's back into the Italian village, which will bring the number down again. And this is what you have to remember from something I always struggle with, especially on the London courses. You get to the top of Box Hill and you've only got 30 seconds over the person behind you. But what you have to realise is that that's 30 seconds that you'll be descending, that they'll still be climbing. Mm-hmm. And so, Majestic is still he's done this hill that they're now going up. The main group are going up, and so, but it's come down to 24 now.
24.
This is a big group, and he is going to be holding on as hard as possible. But it's too hard to call right now. Did
Icarus fly too close to the sun? Did he dig too deep? He has really put in the effort. But it could all come tumbling down now as he is so close to the finish line. He can probably taste the champagne, but there's still another 6 kilometers to go. 6 kilometers for Machevsky as he's got 21 seconds now. Piatek and Chichinski are really putting in the hurt now as riders are being dropped. Aero power-ups are being popped. Oh, Tim.
These A's are going to fly up here, and it's really strung out. But that means that they're all really giving it all they've got, and I'm afraid the lone hare out front, he's just got a huge target on his back now.
16 seconds.
They've
You
clearly
can
not
hear the
eased up.
horns, you know. The riders have been let off their leashes. He's he's gonna have a tough time taking this one all the way to the finish line. It's BC2 at 6 watts per kilogram, Tim. 170 beats per minute. Your man to win it all. Trying to get off the front. Pietek as well at 4 watts per kilogram. This may just come down to a sprint between the strongest A riders out there, because Maciejewski is down to 20 seconds.
I think this group now is going to hold at least 4.5, and even if Maciejewski can hold 4.5, I don't think he's got it, because you've just got this whole, even though we're talking about...
They're going 53, 54 kilometers an hour.
You've just got this whole mass of air with riders happy to throw it as hard as possible. As Sito tries to go off the front as well, cuts it to 12 seconds, 5.8 watts per kilo against 4.6. Pietek is just sitting in his wheel, but this is the great thing about the Hare and Hounds. At the moment, if this was a normal A race, everybody here would be putting 3.54, because this is effectively a downhill section. Everyone would be ready to attack out of the tunnel, but because they know that there's that hare out there, they've got to bring it back in, otherwise he's just going to get away. If anyone saw Torino Adriatico, Geraint Thomas went off the front a couple of days ago, and he's a great TT rider, but it was a stage when everyone had to try and hold on.
1 second. Oh, thank you.
So we're down to 7 seconds now. Sito sitting on the front on his orange Trek bike, and again now everyone can see him. So if I was out front here, I would sit up and get back into this group, because we're going to end up with a sprint finish, Jasper.
We're going to end up with a sprint finish. I'm back. 1 second, guys. Sorry. As you know, I've made new accommodations from where I'm living. I moved from Denmark to London. I'm living in a new house, and my landlord is not currently used to Zwift racing, but we'll get him introduced. It's okay. BC2 sitting in now near the front. Now the watts have come down as they've made the bridge, it looks like, up to Maciejewski, but 4 kilometers to go. It's raining. The stage is set. There can only be one winner of the Polish National Championship on Zwift. 3 seconds to go. The ride-ons are raining in. They deserved it. They've been on the bike for an hour. 46 kilometers in. 3.3 kilometers to go. They're going to go over this road. They're going to go to the finish line. We're seeing power-ups being popped already. Maybe just a bit of nervousness in this peloton. Riders not feeling their sprint is strong enough as a rider goes off the front now. He's going on to the attack.
I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of attacks get thrown here, because everyone will have thought to sit up because we've got this sprint finishing coming up. But oh wow.
This is gonna be tense. We mentioned Watopia Rain. This just adds to the atmosphere. It just sets the stage so well, and we're ready for the final act. Who's gonna get all the applause? Because there can only be one winner of the Polish National Championships of Zwift. Slowly everyone is looking around, trying to eye everyone out to see who's got anything left. Who is going to be the first one to pull that trigger? Because ideally you want to be in that second slot. You want to be the second round of firings that go off the front, because then everyone is reacting to the first one, and then when you sprint and you go off the front, you can utilize the draft and then slingshot right by them all the way to the finish line. 2 kilometers to go. Are you still sticking with your pick of Sito?
I'm going to have to, aren't I? Otherwise I just sound a bit bad. But yeah.
Oh. I'm liking Pietek. I'm Team Poland representing, but there are a few B riders still in here, Tim. Maybe
yeah,
a B rider is punching or
I was
packing a punch.
just going to comment. I think while the B riders are here, as I mentioned earlier, I think the A riders will probably have a bit more of a kick, maybe a bit more in the legs, maybe an ability to go to that higher wattage to be able to get that sprint. But again, we've got to throw in the idea, we don't know how many of these people still have power-ups. If someone's got a truck power up or an aero power up, that's going to make a huge difference.
Trzynski once again, Tim, kicking up to 7 watts per kilogram. Some of these Polish riders are not feeling the sprint though. Maybe they have that power up you're talking about, and they want to see if they can utilize it in an attack.
I think from this point of view as well, I've only raced this course once, and the sprint. You get sprinters in real life going to recce the course because they want to know when the corner comes, when to
basically when to throw it all down.
And and this one is a bit weird because you come out of the tunnel, it's a little bit uphill, and then you take a sharp right, and then sort of bending around to the left. And that bending around to the left is usually done when you just finish the sprint, coming downhill the other way. And so I certainly started my sprint on Saturday way too early. And got overhauled because I just had never done it before, and it's be interesting to see where these people do it. And I think we're going to get the first attack up this hill out of the tunnel.
This is essentially the only place where you can really make the difference. If you're not feeling the sprint, this is the ramp where you can really dig deep, where you can make the difference and put some of those bigger sprinters, bigger engines into difficulties. I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out though. 1 kilometer left. They're going to go out the tunnel and they're going to start the sprint. We've got a group of what? 15 riders, 10 riders, all ready to sprint, all within a shot as we're on board with Maciejewski, the horse.
Here we go.
Tim. Here we go, Tim. This is it. Riders off the front, left, right, straight down the middle. Everyone wanting to make sure that they don't get dropped, so they're upping the watts to 7 watts per kilogram, 8 watts per kilogram for Trzynski. We're on board with Maciejewski, watching from the front of his GoPro as he's sitting on the back. He survived, but now we're on the finishing straight. Last 700 meters. This is it, Tim. Who's going to take all the marbles? This is not a sprint they usually do, as you mentioned. Riders are not particularly keen to this reverse sprint just yet. We'll see who has done this course enough to know when to throw down the watts and when to hold back. Piatek off the front. We've got Trzynski second, AW in third. We got Trzynski, Maciejewski, all these riders. They've ridden for 50 kilometers, an hour on the course, and it's going to come down to one last effort. They turn right, and the finish line is there. AW, 6 watts per kilogram. Our Achilles is up here. Trzynski, who's going to kick it up now? Who's really going to be the first one to dig deep? Maciejewski, the rider's been off the front all day. Look at this. He is trying to keep up with the front now. He goes off the front. We're turning right, and there is the finish line. You can see it just there to the right. Maciejewski, though, maybe mistimed this a tiny bit as he's trying to catch back up. Aero power up being popped behind now by Sorenko. Maybe too early as well. The nerves right now on the line as riders are trying to get the win. The line is coming up just right up there. Another aero power up being popped. We got riders trying to sprint, but it just is such a mess. No rider so far gone off the front, but Piatek from Team Poland, my pick to win. He can sense the finish line. He's trying to go for it, popping that, but he's gone at 60 RPM. Does he have anything left to the finish line? And it's Piatek. Piatek has done it, Tim.
Piatek takes it.
He won. At 60 RPM, did you see him sprint? He had nothing left. There was lactic acid in the wheel, on his legs.
I think that's what you call a Jasper Anker sprint, isn't it?
Hey.
Fantastic effort, and I think he used the power up perfectly there. He used it. He worked back from the finish line and realised if I want an aero right to the end, this is when I've got to use it.
But taken away from that sprint, that was so messy. Nobody knew when to go. Maciejewski went right, then Trzynski, then Trzynski. They just kept going. And in the end, one rider timed it well, and that was Piatek, the official winner of 2017 Polish National Championship on Zwift. Tim, on behalf of everyone here at Zwift Community Live, thank you so much for joining me in today's broadcast. I will see you, I guess, later today when I'm going to be doing my workout on Zwift, getting back on there today. Is there anything you want to say before we tune out?
No, just it was good fun. Those kinds of things, not flat out A races, is great because there's plenty of different tactics, and I'd encourage lots more racing like that. Certainly makes it exciting for us to finish to see who would get where. But no,
I want to see more type of races like this, Tim.
Yeah, I would agree.
And on that note, everyone, hit that thumbs up button here on Zwift Community Lives to never miss another broadcast. My name has been Jesper Anker. I will see you on Zwift.